At the airport security line, someone behind me whispered, "Don't get on that flight." I'm standing in the TSA pre-check line at Denver International Airport, running late for my connecting flight to Phoenix, when the voice cuts through my anxiety like ice water. It's barely audible, spoken by someone directly behind me in line, but the words freeze my blood. "Don't get on that flight." I turn around slowly, expecting to see someone I know, maybe a coworker or neighbor who recognize me. Instead, there's a middle-aged woman in a business suit I've never seen before. She's staring straight ahead, not making eye contact, like she never spoke at all. Her hands are trembling slightly as she clutches her boarding pass. "Excuse me?" I whisper back, but she doesn't respond. She's looking past me toward the security checkpoint, her face pale and drawn. The line moves forward, and I shuffle ahead with everyone else, but I can't shake the feeling that something is very wrong. Why would a complete stranger warn me about my flight? How does she even know which flight I'm taking? I reach the security checkpoint and place my carry-on in the bin, but my hands are shaking now too. The TSA agent checks my ID and boarding pass, and I catch him glancing at the flight number, United 447 to Phoenix. When I look back, the woman who warned me is gone. She's not in the security line anymore, and I scan the entire area but don't see her anywhere. It's like she vanished. My phone buzzes with a boarding notification. "Flight 447 now boarding at gate B27. Please proceed to your gate." I collect my belongings and head toward the gate, but every step feels heavy. The woman's voice keeps echoing in my head, and I can't stop wondering how she knew about my specific flight. Was she watching me? Had she seen my boarding pass somehow? As I walk through the terminal, I start noticing things that seem off. There are more security personnel than usual, and they're not just standing around casually. They're positioned at specific locations, talking into their radios, scanning the crowds. Near gate B25, I see two air marshals in plain clothes trying to look inconspicuous, but their posture and the way they're watching passengers gives them away. Something is definitely happening, and it involves flights in this section of the terminal. My gate is only 2 away from where the marshals are stationed. I stop at a coffee shop to buy time and think. While waiting in line, I overhear 2 gate agents talking quietly. "They haven't found him yet," one says, "but they know he boarded something this morning." The other agent shakes her head. 3 flights got delayed because of this. Security is checking passenger manifests for all Phoenix routes. Phoenix routes. My flight. My stomach drops as I realize this isn't coincidence. Someone dangerous is supposed to be on a flight to Phoenix, and the woman somehow knew about it. But how? And why warn me specifically instead of alerting security? I pull out my phone and start searching news sites for anything about airport security alerts or flight delays in Denver. Nothing comes up immediately, but I notice that several Phoenix flights have been delayed by 30-45 minutes, all within the past 2 hours. That's not normal, especially for a Tuesday afternoon. I check the departures board and see that my flight, UA 447, is still showing on time. Why haven't we been delayed when all the other Phoenix flights have been? I approach my gate and immediately notice the tension. Gate agent Patricia Morrison looks stressed, constantly checking her computer screen and radio. The boarding area is less crowded than it should be for a full flight, and the passengers who are waiting seem nervous. A businessman near me keeps checking his phone and muttering under his breath. A family with 2 young children looks like they're debating whether to stay or leave. Then I hear Gate Agent Morrison make an announcement. "Ladies and gentlemen, we're experiencing a slight mechanical delay with United Flight 447. We expect to begin boarding within the next 20 minutes. But I can see the plane through the window, and ground crew is loading luggage normally. There's no sign of any mechanical issue." That's when I notice him. A man in a gray hoodie sitting in the far corner of the gate area, hood pulled up, constantly scanning the room. He's not reading, not on his phone, not doing anything except watching people. Every few minutes, he checks the departures board, then goes back to surveillance. Something about his posture reminds me of the woman in the security line. The same nervous energy, the same hypervigilance. When he stands up to throw something away, I see him clearly for the first time. He's maybe 35, average height, but there's something in his eyes that makes my skin crawl. Cold calculation, like he's planning something. I excuse myself and walk to the bathroom, pulling out my phone to call my wife, Sarah. "Hey honey, quick question. Did anyone contact you about my flight today? Anyone asking questions or saying anything weird?" She sounds confused. "No. Why? What's going on?" I tell her about the woman's warning and the delays affecting other Phoenix flights. Sarah is quiet for a moment, then says something that makes my blood run cold. "Alex, remember last month when that woman called asking about your travel schedule? The one who said she was from your company's travel department?" I'd forgotten about that call. A woman had phoned our house asking detailed questions about my business trips, claiming she needed to update their records. Sarah had given her my flight information for several upcoming trips, including today's flight to Phoenix. "Sarah, that wasn't from my company. We book our own travel." The silence on the other end tells me she's realizing the same thing. Someone has been tracking my travel plans for weeks. They knew exactly when and where I'd be flying. But why? And who was the woman who warned me? I hang up and lean against the bathroom wall, trying to think. If someone is targeting me specifically, then getting on that flight could be walking into a trap. But if someone else is trying to protect me, then maybe the real danger is staying here. The woman's warning could have been meant to save my life, or it could have been meant to delay me for something worse. I return to the gate area, and the man in the gray hoodie is gone. I scan the entire seating area, check the nearby food court, even look down the concourse toward other gates. He's disappeared just like the woman in the security line. Now I'm really spooked. Two people who seem to be watching me have both vanished without a trace. I approach Gate Agent Morrison. Excuse me, has anyone been asking questions about passengers on this flight? Security concerns or anything unusual? She looks at me suspiciously. Sir, I can't discuss security matters. Is there a specific concern you have? I don't know how to explain without sounding paranoid, so I just ask when we'll actually be boarding. We're still working on that mechanical issue, she says, but her eyes won't meet mine. That's when I see him again. The man in the gray hoodie is at gate B24, 2 gates down, apparently waiting for a different flight, but he's still watching our gate. Still watching me. I pretend to make a phone call while keeping him in my peripheral vision. He's definitely focused on Flight 447's passengers, not his own departure. When I sit down facing his direction, he immediately looks away and pulls out his phone like he's busy. This isn't paranoia anymore. Someone is definitely surveillance me, and that someone knows my travel plans in advance. The question is whether the woman who warned me was trying to help, or if this is all part of some larger setup. My phone rings. Unknown number. I hesitate, then answer. Alex Reynolds? The voice is female, but not the woman from the security line. This one sounds official, authoritative. This is Detective Maria Santos with Denver Airport Police. I need you to stay exactly where you are and don't board that flight under any circumstances. We're sending someone to get you right now. My heart stops. What's going on? Sir, we believe someone has been planning to target you specifically. The woman who approached you in security was an undercover federal agent. She was trying to warn you without blowing her cover. Federal agent? Targeting me? None of this makes sense. Target me for what? I'm just a software consultant going to Phoenix for a client meeting. Mr. Reynolds, what you do for work is exactly why you're being targeted. Your client in Phoenix isn't who they claim to be. Detective Santos explains that the company I'm supposed to meet with, Meridian Solutions, doesn't actually exist. The address I was given leads to an empty office building. Someone has been using fake business meetings to lure people into dangerous situations, and they've been tracking potential victims through their travel patterns. We've been investigating this for 3 months. You're the 4th person they've targeted, but you're the first one we've been able to warn in time. The 4th person. What happened to the other 3? The detective's pause tells me everything I need to know. Stay where you are. Agent Rebecca Chen is approaching your gate now. She's the woman who warned you in the security line. I look up and see her walking toward me, no longer trying to blend in. She's wearing a badge now and moving with purpose. Behind her are 2 other agents in tactical gear. The man in the gray hoodie sees them coming and bolts. He's running through the terminal, pushing past travelers, heading for the nearest exit. Airport security is already mobilizing, and I can hear radio chatter echoing through the concourse. Agent Chen reaches me as the gate area erupts in controlled chaos. Mr. Reynolds, you're safe now, but we need you to come with us immediately. The people who've been tracking you are still dangerous, and we don't know how many associates they have in this airport. As we walk quickly toward a secure area, Agent Chen explains the scope of the investigation. The fake company, Meridian Solutions, has been used to target specific individuals with access to sensitive information or valuable assets. They research their victims for months, learning their travel patterns, their work schedules, their family situations. Then, they create irresistible business opportunities that require travel to isolated locations. Your software consulting work involves access to financial databases for several major banks. They wanted that access, and they were willing to kill you for it. The woman who called my house wasn't from a travel department. She was gathering intelligence about my schedule so they could plan the perfect opportunity to grab me. The flight to Phoenix was just the delivery method. They had people waiting at Sky Harbor Airport to intercept you before you ever left the secure area. If you'd boarded that flight, you would have disappeared just like the others. We reach a secure conference room where Detective Santos is waiting with a laptop full of evidence. Photos of the previous victims, screenshots of fake company websites, records of phone calls and staged business meetings, all of it leading to people vanishing without a trace. We've been tracking this organization for months, but they're always one step ahead. They have inside information from somewhere, access to travel records and personal data that shouldn't be available to criminals. Detective Santos shows me surveillance footage from the past week. The man in the gray hoodie has been following me since I left my house this morning. He was on my first flight from Atlanta to Denver, sitting 3 rows behind me. He followed me through the Denver terminal when I got off the plane. He's been monitoring my movements for hours, waiting for the right moment to make contact or signal his associates in Phoenix. We identified him as Marcus Webb, a known associate of the Meridian organization. He's wanted in connection with 2 previous disappearances. The level of planning and coordination is terrifying. These people had been watching me for weeks, learning my habits, setting up the perfect trap. Agent Chen pulls up another screen showing flight records. Flight 447 to Phoenix was specifically chosen because it arrives at a time when security is lighter at Sky Harbor. They had people positioned to intercept you during the baggage claim process. Once they had you, they would have taken you to a secondary location for interrogation and asset extraction. They were going to torture me for banking access codes and then kill me. The business meeting in Phoenix was completely fake, designed solely to get me alone in an unfamiliar city where no one would immediately notice if I disappeared. We've identified 3 similar cases in the past 6 months. All victims were professionals with access to sensitive systems. None of them were ever seen again. The investigation had been triggered when the FBI noticed a pattern of missing persons cases involving business travelers. All had received similar calls about lucrative consulting opportunities. All had flown to meetings with companies that turned out to be fake. All had disappeared without a trace after landing in their destination cities. Your case was different because your wife mentioned the suspicious call to a family friend who works in federal law enforcement. That friend flagged it to our task force, and we've been monitoring your travel ever since. If Sarah hadn't mentioned that phone call, I would have walked right into their trap. The woman in the security line, Agent Chen, had been assigned to protect me without revealing the ongoing investigation. We let you go through normal security and boarding procedures because we needed to identify Webb and any other associates who might be watching you. We also wanted to see if they had anyone positioned at your destination. Detective Santos shows me photos from Sky Harbor Airport in Phoenix. Two men in casual clothes had been waiting near the baggage claim area for the past 4 hours, periodically checking the arrivals board for Flight 447. These are the men who were supposed to kidnap you. They've been arrested by Phoenix police based on our surveillance. The coordination between multiple cities and agencies is impressive, but also shows how sophisticated this criminal organization has become. Agent Chen explains that the Meridian organization has been operating for at least 2 years, targeting professionals in finance, technology, and government contracting. They use social engineering to gather personal information, then create elaborate fake business scenarios to lure victims into vulnerable situations. They're not just random criminals. This is organized, well-funded, and they have access to databases and information systems that suggest inside help from someone in law enforcement or federal agencies. The scope of their operation includes fake company websites, professional-looking business cards, staged phone calls from apparent colleagues, and detailed research on each victim's professional background and personal life. Marcus Webb, the man who had been surveilling me, was arrested trying to leave the airport. During his interrogation, he revealed details about the Phoenix operation and confirmed that I was specifically targeted because of my access to banking systems for 3 major financial institutions. They weren't planning to rob banks directly. They wanted to use your access to gather information about high-value accounts and security protocols. Then they would sell that information to other criminal organizations for millions of dollars. My consulting work had made me a valuable target without me even realizing it. The Meridian Group had been studying my client list and contracts for months, determining exactly what kind of information I could provide under duress. The fake company website for Meridian Solutions had been online for 8 months, complete with fake employee profiles, testimonials, and a professional-looking office address in Phoenix. They had even created fake LinkedIn profiles for supposed company executives and had them connect with potential victims months before making contact. The level of preparation and investment suggests this wasn't their first operation. We believe they've been running similar schemes in multiple cities, targeting different types of professionals based on what kind of information or access they need. The organization was treating kidnapping and murder like a business, with detailed planning, risk assessment, and profit projections. Detective Santos receives a call from Phoenix Police with an update on the arrests there. They found detailed files on you in the suspect's possession, photos of your house, your car, your wife, your work schedule. They knew where your kids go to school and what time you typically pick them up. The realization that my family had been surveilled makes me sick to my stomach. This wasn't just about me anymore. They had been gathering intelligence on my entire family, possibly planning to use them as leverage if their primary plan didn't work. We're placing your family under protective surveillance until we can determine how many associates this organization has and whether there are any ongoing threats. Agent Chen shows me intercepted communications between Webb and his associates in Phoenix. Text messages discussing package delivery and asset extraction timelines that clearly refer to kidnapping me and forcing me to provide banking access. They were planning to keep you alive for 72 hours while they systematically accessed every client account and system you have authorization to enter. Then, they would eliminate you and dispose of the evidence. The clinical language they used to discuss torture and murder is chilling. These people saw human beings as nothing more than sources of valuable information to be extracted and discarded. The investigation has revealed that Meridian Solutions was just one of several fake companies being operated by the same criminal organization. They had created fake consulting firms, fake law offices, even fake government contractor businesses, all designed to lure different types of victims with access to valuable information or assets. We estimate they've successfully kidnapped and killed at least 12 people over the past 2 years, generating millions of dollars in stolen information and assets. The scope of their operation was much larger than anyone had initially suspected, involving multiple cities, dozens of fake identities, and sophisticated technology resources. 2 hours later, I'm finally allowed to call my wife and explain what happened. Sarah is in protective custody at our house with 2 federal agents, while investigators search for any signs that our home or family has been compromised. The kids are scared but safe, she tells me. Agent Martinez explained that some very bad people were planning to hurt Daddy, but the good guys stopped them. I try to sound calm and reassuring, but the reality is that my family and I came very close to being victims of a sophisticated criminal organization that had been planning our destruction for months. If not for Sarah's casual mention of that suspicious phone call to the right person, none of us might have survived this. Agent Chen informs me that I'll need to stay in protective custody for at least 48 hours while they determine if there are other associates still at large who might attempt to complete the mission. We've arrested 5 people directly connected to your case, but we believe this organization has cells operating in multiple states. Your safety isn't guaranteed until we can map out their entire network. The investigation is expanding rapidly as they analyze the evidence found during the arrests. Phone records, financial transactions, safe house locations, and communication methods used by the criminal network. This case is going to result in one of the largest organized crime prosecutions in recent years. 3 days later, I'm finally cleared to return home under continued protective surveillance. The FBI has arrested 14 people in connection with the Meridian organization, including the mastermind who had been operating fake companies to target professionals for kidnapping and murder. Marcus Webb provided detailed information about their methods and previous victims in exchange for a reduced sentence. Your case broke this entire operation wide open, Detective Santos tells me during our final briefing. Because we were able to intercept their plan in progress, we gathered evidence that connected them to multiple other disappearances and murders across 6 states. The investigation revealed that my case was part of a larger pattern of targeting financial services consultants, cybersecurity experts, and government contractors with access to sensitive systems. The Meridian organization had been selling stolen information to foreign intelligence services and domestic criminal organizations for millions of dollars. They weren't just kidnapping people for ransom. They were running a sophisticated espionage operation disguised as business consulting. The fake company websites, professional phone calls, and staged meetings were all part of an elaborate intelligence gathering operation that had been operating successfully for years. 6 months later, I testified in federal court against the remaining members of the Meridian organization. The trial revealed the full scope of their operation, including evidence that they had successfully kidnapped and murdered at least 15 people over a 3-year period. The fake business meetings had been used to lure victims to isolated locations where they could be interrogated for sensitive information before being killed. Your case was the first time we were able to intercept one of their operations in progress, the prosecutor explained. Your testimony and the evidence we gathered during your protection operation is going to put these people away for life. The mastermind behind Meridian Solutions, a former intelligence operative named David Kruger, was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Marcus Webb received 25 years for his role in the surveillance and kidnapping conspiracy. The other associates received sentences ranging from 15–30 years, depending on their level of involvement in the murders. This organization was responsible for one of the most sophisticated criminal operations we've ever encountered, the judge said during sentencing. They turned murder and kidnapping into a business model, and they nearly succeeded in claiming another victim. If you made it this far, you're a real one. Show some love with a like and subscribe for more content like this.